The second concept to be mindful of while you're making your maps is the idea of alignment. And that's really the act, the intentional act while you're making your maps of thinking about the edges, the centers, and the spacing of your different map elements and trying your best to see if you can get the edges of those to line up. It discusses in the chapter reading about the reduction of sight lines. So if we think of every vertical and horizontal element within our map as having a particular sight line, the more of those that we can align with each other, then the better suited our readers are to interpret and understand the different aspects of the map in an intuitive and coherent way. And so built into ArcGIS Pro, there's a bunch of different alignment and ruler tools that you can use that you can help set up your map layout so you can really dial in these different levels of alignment and reducing these sight lines, right? So here's a good example here. You can place a ruler on your map layout and then put all of these different accessory elements like the legend, this text, this credit, data citation. You can put those all in one vertical pathway, visual pathway. And so that way your reader has the capability of just kind of looking right down that line and getting all the information. And if it's all jumbled up and like your legend's over here, you have text over here, you have a mismatch of different vertical aligned elements, then it just makes it more kind of cluttered, more disjointed as a visual product. So we can look at this map, for example. This is a map of one of my favorite areas of Oregon, the Newberry Caldera. And this is a monochromatic design, so it's made to be a singular grayscale map. And we can see here they do a really good job with some of these vertical sight lines, right? Coming down here on the left side of the map, we have this nice vertical element where all these different elements are aligned to it. And we can just kind of look a little bit further, right? On the horizontal axis, we have nice alignment on the top, even on kind of both sides of these little elements down here, right? The scale bar and this elevation profile both match the lower dimension and the upper dimension with this text element and this north arrow block. So, thinking about ways you can just use the built-in tools into ArcGIS Pro, looking at the geography of your area, the elements you want to add to your map, and really trying to figure out how can you make the most aligned and reduce the number of sight lines or reduce the number of vertical and horizontal pathways that exist in your map. And in some cases, it can be really difficult. Like in this map, for instance, the legend over here is kind of off kilter of this vertical axis, and that could be because there's some terrain features down here on this aspect that make it kind of add some background noise. So you want to move it out into this flat area here, right? And when you're doing that, maybe you want to center align it with this piece so it has some sort of alignment. Or so there's places where you have a set of rules that you set up and a intention that you set up, and then places you might have to deviate from that based on the underlying terrain that you're putting on, different dimensions of your map, different geographic features, etc. Okay, so that is key concept 2, alignment.